Now, this isn't the obvious one, but it is the obvious one for me. So when I was told I had stage 4 cancer, I didn't say, oh my word, I'm going to die. I went, I'm going to lose my hair.
My first question as well.
My first question. The myth for me about cancer is you don't always lose your hair.
No,
it depends on the drugs.
It does.
And I was very lucky that I've kept my hair so far. If I change my drugs, I might lose my hair. But the myth is not everybody with cancer has a bald head.
There's people walking around with no sat next to you on the tube, full of head of hair, full of cancer, never know. Since the day I was diagnosed, I just feel like we don't talk about this disease in an open, normal way. And as a young person, it was never even on my radar that I should be concerned about any symptoms because you're invincible. You are walking around with like Superwoman or Superman, aren't you? And,
it's never going to be you.
It's never going to be. It happens to other people, right? It's a high amount of young people get diagnosed, and there's like this weak spot in the middle. I think there's like children's cancer charities and teenage cancer charities, and then there's like the other cancer charities.
No,
not old people, but it's catered to a more advanced life stage. But there's different challenges for people in that in between. I'd say like your 20s to your 40s.
I have a cancer which apparently young people don't get.
But they do.
And this is the problem. So I think also when you fall out of the age bracket that you're cancer, so the average person for me is 69 and 69-year-old bloke. And
You are not he.
I am not he, exactly. So I think that's the problem when you don't fit the mould of your cancer. People then kind of go, well, you're too young. And actually I'm part of a campaign for bowel cancer called the Never Too Young campaign. Which is really important because 2,500 people are diagnosed every year with bowel cancer, specifically under the age of 50, and yet it's deemed something that people are is an older person's disease.
And this is direct from Cancer Research UK. So cancer, no longer the disease of the old. 1 in 10 new cancer cases diagnosed in people aged 25 to 49. There are twice as many cases in women than men in this age group. Numbers on the rise. Each year, almost 23,000 women under the age of 50 are diagnosed with cancer.
I still find it crazy, right, that in our schools we take young girls into rooms and we tell them about their periods and we show them how to put condoms on a banana, but we do not tell them how to check themselves for
their boobs
for
or
their
their
boobs. The thing is, there's so many different cancers, and each of them have their own like niches and like changes and mutations
and
treatments
different types of chemo, different like immunotherapy.
Like I found out that my drug I'm about to have to put me into early menopause, actually they give to prostate patients as well. So it's all this stuff that crosses over and is so complex.
You become an expert in your own field, don't you?
Yeah. You suddenly, like sometimes I think I could probably retrain to be an oncologist, but
I think that.
Then I read into it a bit more deeply and see a scientific paper and think, oh no.
Different cancers present different challenges.
Yes, they do.
So whether it's a hormone-driven problem or a poo-driven problem or whatever it might be, but there are commonalities. So I think we can all relate to kind of the emotional things. There are common symptoms that we all have to go through. They are all very different, but cancer is cancer, regardless of the stage, regardless. It's a scary word.
Well, this kind of brings us into number 4. I think a pet hate of all of ours is this myth. So the big pharmaceutical companies are hiding the cure for cancer, that the cure for cancer has been found, but because they can't monetize it because it's some sort of natural ingredient or something, so the myth goes, they are hiding the fact that there is a cure for cancer. And I think it's fair to say that we're all kind of not really on board with that.
No, and I just tell you what, it tends to be the people who haven't had cancer that have that point of view. And I tell you something now, when you're in a room and you get told you have cancer, you will take whatever is given to you.
Absolutely.
And I know from the bottom of my heart that I was treated with the best possible drugs they could have given me.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, I think oncologists are so passionate about what they're doing. Yeah. If there was a magic cure, they would do anything to give it to us.
I mean, I'm talking from one thing. I mean, I've been given the all clear, I say that with a little quote sign. But I think people realise now that, you can have stage 4 cancer. That's not necessarily terminal. Stage 4, you can live with for your whole life, and you can live a good life.
Yeah. And let's be clear about those two separate things. Is that stage 4 incurable cancer is not the same as terminal cancer.
Yes.
No, it's very different.
It's a very different thing. So
I'm in a situation where my aim is to kick the can as long down the road as you possibly can until something comes up with a magic cure. But I think, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say in certain circumstances, let's face it, oncologists don't beat around the bush, and they will have a very serious conversation with somebody and they will say, you know what, we've done everything that we can do. However, I don't want people coming to the table saying, I've got cancer, I'm automatically going to die, because I think you do jump to that. But even with stage 4 cancer, yes, I've unfortunately lost people who were diagnosed at the same time as me with the same type of cancer. But then we probably all have, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've seen that. It's not the end of it. I feel that if you don't have hope, then well, what have you got then?
Yeah.
You take away hope from a cancer patient at your peril.
Yeah.
At your
Oh my
peril.
God. Yeah. Imagine.
That is what is going to keep you going.